people just don't bluff here unless they do.
Brad Owen, YouTube's #1 poker vlogger.
Why are you the micro stakes king?
YOLO, right?
Yeah. What's up, guys? We are at the Brad Owen and Andrew Neeme meetup game. Yeah, we're gonna play 2-5 and we're gonna win a bunch of money.
The room is packed for the first time ever, and everyone has made it out, even this guy.
Yeah, for the holidays, and I can hold my drink, you know, and and it's hands-free.
That's sick.
Yeah.
In the first hand of the night, we have ace-9 off on the cutoff, and there is a button straddle for $10. We raise to $30, and the straddle makes the call for $20. The blinds fold. The flop comes ace of hearts, 6 of clubs, and 4 of clubs. We decide to bet here for value, so we bet $25, and our opponent makes the call. The turn is the 7 of hearts. We could bet here, but I didn't really want to fold out much of our opponent's junk, like maybe 6x or 4x that he just calls randomly with in the straddle. We check and our opponent bets $60. We make the call and the river comes the king of clubs. We check and our opponent bets a bit more than half pot, about $130. With a club in our hand and top pair, this is a pretty clear call. Our opponent shows king 6 off for river 2 pair.
It's a good river.
The night is not off to a great start. Let's see if we can turn it around in this next hand where we have pocket 9s. There is an under the gun 1 raised to $20 and we decide to just call under the gun 2 with pocket 9s. The small blind calls and the big blind folds. The flop comes 10-5-5 with a flush draw on board. The original raiser bets $40 and we make the call and the big blind folds. The turn is the 3 of clubs. This brings in the front door flush and our opponent checks. We could check back here, but I think it's better to deny equity against hands that contain a club as well as overcards. For this reason, we decide to bet, and we bet $40. I think this is actually a bit too small and kind of looks like I'm just blocking, which I kind of am. So I think it's better to bet higher, like $60, $70. Either way, our opponent makes the call and the river is the 10 of spades. Our opponent checks once again, and I really considered just checking here. But after thinking it through, I think our opponent also has some lower pairs like 5s through 8s. We can definitely get value from these hands, so we go ahead and just throw out $100, and our opponent makes the call. They show pocket 7s, so we were correct, and our opponent had a lower pair. It's always nice to get some somewhat thin value. This wouldn't be a Resorts World video without a bomb pot. In this hand, all 7 players at my table put in $20 before the flop, and we run out 2 flops. It's what they call a double board bomb pot. We are dealt king 10 off, and the first flop comes 8 of clubs, 7 of hearts, 5 of spades. The second flop comes 10 of spades, 10 of diamonds, 7 of diamonds. There's already $140 in the pot, and the small blind leads for $100. The big blind makes a call, and now we have a decision in the hijack with trips on the second board. Our hand isn't super nutted, and I don't really want to see much more action behind us, so we go ahead and just put in the raise now. We raise to $400. The cutoff thinks for a while and eventually folds. So does the button, and then it's back to the small blind who calls. He's basically all in, so we don't really have to worry about much more until the big blind also folds. The first board runs out 3 of diamonds on the turn and ace of hearts on the river. This board is meaningless for us, we just have to win the second one, which comes the 6 of spades on the turn and the 8 of hearts on the river. It's a pretty decent run out, and we can breathe when our opponent announces 2 pair on the top board, so we take the second board.
I have a 10. Yeah.
It's a chop. This is how most bomb pots end, but it's definitely a lot of fun. You know what else is a lot of fun? Donuts. There were free donuts in the back, and I had a donut for the first time in a long time. Maybe 2.
Welcome. Thank you.
Towards the middle of our session, the one and only Brad Owen takes a seat at our table. He talks a bit with Rick from Pawn Stars, and the dealer welcomes him. In our first and only hand with Brad, there's a straddle on for $10 on the button. Brad opens in early position to $35. The cutoff calls, and we call in the big blind with pocket 8s. We could maybe squeeze here sometimes, but it would really kind of suck to get 4-bet, so we just called. The flop comes jack of hearts, 5 of clubs, 5 of spades. We check, Brad checks, and the cutoff bets $40. With only 1 overcard, we're not going to go anywhere quite yet, so we make the call, and Brad also makes the call. The turn is the queen of diamonds. We check, Brad checks, and the cutoff again bets $160 this time. Multi-way, and with Brad still behind us to act, we're going to go ahead and get out of this hand finally, but we're still going to see what happens. We fold and Brad makes a call. The river comes the 10 of diamonds. Brad checks and the opponent bets 325.
Alright, so I can't fold.
Brad makes a call and we see the opponent has Jack 10 for 2 pair. And Brad flips his hand over for a better 2 pair. Ace Queen.
Yeah, that'd be.
It appears the opponent went for some very thin value there, or she didn't realize any queen beat her because the board was paired. Otherwise, she's not really getting called by worse. But it is what it is. Congrats to Brad for winning this hand.
What do you want to talk about?
Alright. After Brad leaves our table, we eventually move tables and find Jeff Boski. He's kind enough to give us an interview. Let's see what he has to say. Why are you the micro stakes king?
I'm the best $5 online tournament player that ever existed.
Is that how that works?
No one's debated.
Facts. These are facts.
I mean, no one's come after my throne.
Why'd you choose micros? Why didn't you want to be the medium stakes king?
I don't want to get cocky with it. You know.
Oh,
You
yeah?
got to be humble.
Okay, so
You got to know your place.
I see.
So I'd rather be king of a small country than not be king at all.
Can't argue with that logic.
No one to hold him. No one to fold him.
In this next hand, there is an early position open for $20, and we call a middle position with pocket sixes. The blinds fold, and the flop comes King 6-4 Rainbow. That's right, we've flopped middle set, and we are praying our opponent has a hand. Things are looking quite nice as our opponent bets the flop, $35, and we make the call. The turn comes the Jack of Hearts. Our opponent is not slowing down and bets $65. Being somewhat deep here, I can definitely get behind raising, but for whatever reason, I just decided to call here. The board is still fairly dry with no flush or straight draws, so I think raising would just look too strong. The river comes the King of Hearts. Our opponent overbets pot for $155. We now have a boat, and it seems that our opponent has a king. We posture for a bit and raise to $500.
500.
We leave about $200 or $300 behind, and it doesn't take long before our opponent makes the call. After the hand, our opponent seemed pretty upset that he actually called, meaning I don't even think he had a king. I think he called us pretty light, so glad to get value there. Things are looking up as the hijack raises to $20 in the next hand, and we 3-bet to $70 with pocket tens in the cutoff. The big blind cold calls, and the hijack actually folds. The flop comes Jack of Clubs, 5 of Clubs, Deuce of Hearts. I couldn't really begin to tell you what our opponent's cold call 3-bet range looks like, but most likely it doesn't contain a lot of Jack X unless it's like Ace Jack suited or King Jack or Queen Jack suited, which is pretty loose. For this reason, I think we're going to want to bet for value and protection. We're going to get called by smaller pairs like 7s, 8s, 9s, and we're also going to be able to protect against overcards to the turn and flush completing clubs. We bet $75 and our opponent makes a call. The turn is the Jack of Spades. Our opponent checks, and now we need to decide what to do. With all things considered, I think this turn is actually still pretty good. It makes it less likely for them to have a jack, and they're still going to call with a flush draw. For this reason, we bet $225 into about $312. Remember, this was for value, but when we get raised to $500, we are not feeling so good. Our opponent leaves $400 behind, which is basically committing their stack if I were to call here.
Why are you raising?
I clearly don't totally believe them, but as I see more and more spots like this live, I just lean towards a fold because people just generally don't bluff like this.
People just don't bluff here.
Do you want to show this? I'm throwing 3 of probably a bluff.
People just don't bluff here unless they do.
Or at least that's what we thought as we fold and get shown a bluff. Ace 5 of diamonds. Hilarious. In this next hand, we are a bit short-handed with 7 players at the table, and there's an under the gun shadow on for $10. We raise Ace King of Clubs and the hijack to $30. The cutoff and the button both make the call, as well as the under the gun shadow. The flop comes King of Hearts, 10 of Hearts, 3 of Clubs. With a flush draw on board in multi-way, we're going to want to bet big here. We bet $100 into about $130. To our delight, everyone makes the call. There's now over $400 in the pot, and the turn is a bad one. It's the 5 of Hearts. The flush draw comes in, and we check, the cutoff checks, and the button bets $100. Very small. The straddler folds, and for this price, we unfortunately cannot make the fold, so we make the call, and the cutoff also makes a call. There is now over $700 in the pot, and the river comes the 4 of Clubs. It checks once again to the button, who bets 175. This guy looks like he's crying for a call, and we would have called if we didn't have our opponent to our left still in the hand. So for this reason, we make the fold. The cutoff eventually makes a call, and we see that the button has the nuts, ace 6 of hearts. He was really trying to milk us on that one. In the last hand of the night, we are still short-handed, and the button raises to $20. We decide to call in the small blind with queen 9 of hearts. This is probably the worst of the 3 options. I would rather 3-bet or just fold, but either way, we ended up calling. The big blind makes the fold, and the flop comes 7 of clubs, 6 of diamonds, 3 of hearts. We check, and our opponent bets on the bigger side, $40 into about 45. I thought we had a really nice hand for a check raise here, as we have 2 overs, the backdoor straight, and the backdoor hearts. For this reason, we raised to 160. I don't think I had to go this big, but this is the size we chose, and our opponent makes a call. The turn is the 5 of diamonds. I would have definitely loved seeing us continue barreling here, as we certainly have way more 4x than the button, and we can also turn a straight, and as long as the river is not a diamond or some other card that brings something in, then we can definitely 3-street barrel. With all of this said, it had been a long night, and I guess we were just off our game. We decided to check and basically give up. The button decides to check back. The river comes to 5 of spades. We check, and our opponent bets $340. This is nearly a pot-sized bet, and just when we were going to fold, we start getting ideas.
I think I'm going to hero.
I was thinking maybe our opponent checks back a flush draw on the turn and then bets the river as a bluff. We have a 9, we're blocking 9-8 for the nuts. If our opponent had value, they should probably be betting the turn. The line doesn't make all that much sense, so we call with queen high.
So sick.
Did he win?
Yeah, he wins. I hear it with queen high. Fuck me. Alright,
You were value then.
so dumb.
It's a hell of a value bet.
Dude.
Block paid 9.
Yeah, so did I.
That's right, we lose to ace high. We had the right idea here, but obviously did not work out as planned. This was overall probably just a pretty badly played hand, so do not try this one at home.
I gotta go over that one. Fuck me.
Going is what we do as we take a final look at what is left of our stack and cash out. We are in for 2K total and cashing out for 527. Ouch.
Alright guys, here with Brad Owen, YouTube's #1 poker vlogger. #1 poker.
Just until you get that spot, man.
Oh, who knows? One day.
Teabag that guy. He's got a huge dick.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
The shadow.
that's
Maybe tear up.
the shadow of
Put
his.
that on there.
Okay.
The shadow of
You
his
do have to
penis.
get that. That
Okay,
is,
okay.
Yeah, you gotta.
it's important to get that.
That's I don't know if
The
that's
shadow.
gonna get past
Of
community
the curve.
guidelines.
The
You know what I mean?
shadow.
You know, yeah.
You never know who's
You never
on.
know.
But yeah, man.
How'd you do tonight?
Oh, we lost a lot, but it's whatever. The games were good.
Yeah.
How'd you do?
Good, man. I won. I won.
I know you won a lot when you were at my table.
Thanks for
That's
coming out,
about it.
man.
Yeah.
And good luck with the YouTube grind. And hopefully we'll do some more of these meetup games in Vegas at Resorts
I
World.
look so short.
I'll get down.
Damn.
Giant now.
All right, cool. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you.
Alright guys, we are back in the parking lot past 12 a.m. and the meetup game is over. As you saw, we got to talk to a bunch of vloggers. Boski, Brad Owen, they were all there tonight. The games were good, but as you saw, we definitely had some rough hands. But yeah, that last one really hurt, calling with the queen high. But it is what it is. It was a cool meetup. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe. Let's get it.
Yeah, let's make it
All
up.
right, guys. You know what happens when you lose $1,500? And YOLO, right?
Yeah. We go to the win. Let's see if we can win it back.
The win.
You like that one?
Hey.
Oh, I know you like that one.
That's a good pun. There you go. Let's go. This is vlogception.